Once upon a time, there was a young man named Kaito who lived in a small village hidden in the mountains. His face bore the traces of an ancient pain, something he could never leave behind. Despite being born into a family of honored warriors, Kaito lived alone, far away from others, a prisoner of his own fears. The village, which had once seen him as the future protector, now looked down on him. He was called the man without courage, and he himself could not find a way out of that label. If you too feel like fear is holding you prisoner, subscribe to our channel to never miss stories that can inspire you to overcome it. Kaito had been a carefree child, following his father, Kenji, into every battle and training. Kenji was a feared and respected warrior who always carried with him an unflappable calm and implacable strength. Kaito idolized him. One day, however, everything changed. Father and son were attacked by a group of mercenaries while they were far from the village. Kenji fought bravely, but Kaito, paralyzed by fear, could do nothing to help him. He watched his father fall, overwhelmed by his enemies, while he ran in terror towards home. From that moment, Kaito withdrew from the world, convinced that his cowardice had marked him forever. Have you ever felt blocked by fear? Share your experience in the comments. You may find support from those who have lived similar situations. His days were marked by silence, interrupted only by the tormenting memories that afflicted him. The village did not understand him. The elders openly criticized him, and the young people mocked him. Some even dared to steal his food or invade his territory, certain that Kaito would never react. Shame kept him chained to his home, a place that now seemed like a prison to him. One day, driven by hunger and curiosity, Kaito decided to go out for the first time after years of isolation. He walked slowly, trying to pass unnoticed among the trees, when suddenly he heard footsteps behind him. A group of mercenaries, the same ones who had killed his father, had followed him. They surrounded him, laughing and threatening him. "There's the son of the great Kenji," said one of them, "but look at his miserable end." Kaito felt his heart pounding in his chest, fear blocking his voice and body. He was preparing to run away once again when something unexpected happened. Out of nowhere, a deep, calm voice filled the air. "Leave him alone." An elderly monk, clad in a saffron-colored robe, appeared before the group. His face was calm, and his eyes reflected deep wisdom. "It is not wise to attack someone who is on the path to their inner truth," the monk said with gentle firmness. One of the mercenaries chuckled, glaring at the monk. "And what can an old man like you do against us?" "It is not the numbers that count," the monk replied with a slight smile, "but the heart and spirit of those who face the challenge." The mercenaries, surprised by this response, paused for a moment. They could not tell whether they were frightened by the monk or simply confused by his calm in the midst of danger. Taking advantage of their hesitation, the monk turned to Kaito. "Come with me. There's something you need to see." Kaito, still dazed, agreed. The monk led him away from the forest, through paths that seemed ancient and forgotten by time, to a lake hidden in the mountains. The water was so clear that it reflected the sky and the treetops. "Look," the monk said, pointing to the surface of the water. "What do you see?" Kaito bent down and saw his reflection. For the first time in years, he was actually looking at himself. He saw not the terrified man he had thought himself to be, but someone with a hidden strength, not yet awakened. "I see. A warrior," he said in a trembling voice. "If you have ever felt that courage is hidden within you, take a moment to reflect. You may discover an unexpected strength." "Exactly," replied the monk, whose name was Sogen. "You have always been a warrior, Kaito. Fear has only blinded you, but strength, wisdom, and courage are already within you. Buddhism teaches us that suffering comes from illusion, from the inability to see things as they really are. Your fear is an illusion. It is not who you are." Kaito remained silent, pondering those words. The monk continued, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. Buddhism teaches you that true strength comes from accepting who you are, without running away. Compassion is understanding that we all suffer, but that we can overcome that suffering together. and wisdom is recognizing that every experience, even pain, is a lesson. The young warrior felt something change inside him. The monk's words made him understand that his fear, which had always held him prisoner, was not insurmountable. It was a human aspect, something he could face and overcome. But how? "How can I cultivate this wisdom and courage?" he asked. "Do you want to find out more about how to face your fears and find inner wisdom? Stay with us. The answer is closer than you think." "With practice," Sogen replied, "every day, through meditation and mindful action. By meditating, you can see your thoughts and emotions clearly without being overwhelmed by them. Mindful action allows you to live in harmony with yourself and others. When you face your fears and act with compassion, you will transform yourself." The next day, Kaito decided to put the monk's teachings into practice. He returned to the village, but this time not to hide. He walked calmly and with dignity, and the villagers who once mocked him now watched him with curiosity. Something in him had changed. When the mercenaries returned to try to overpower him, Kaito didn't run. He stood before them, like his father had done all those years ago. Have you ever had the courage to face your fears like Kaito? Take a step toward change and begin your inner journey today. "Are you here to finish what you started?" one of the mercenaries asked with a cruel smile. Kaito looked at them calmly. "I am no longer the man you once knew," he said. "I no longer run from my fears, but I do not seek revenge. Today I will face you with strength, but also with compassion." The fight that followed was intense. Kaito used everything he had learned, not only his physical strength, but also his calm and focused mind. He was not fighting out of hatred, but to defend himself and his village. The mercenaries, seeing his transformation, were taken aback. Finally, one by one they surrendered, recognizing in Kaito a true warrior, not only in body, but also in spirit. When it was all over, Kaito was left alone, looking at the sky reflected in the nearby lake. He felt a peace within him that he had never known. Sogen's words echoed in his mind. Wisdom is the ability to see things as they are, courage is facing life with kindness, and compassion is realizing that we are never alone in our journey. Remember, true strength lies not in victory over others, but in victory over oneself. Sign up now for more stories of growth and inspiration. He returned to the village, not as the coward everyone remembered, but as a man who had regained his courage and dignity. The villagers, seeing the change in him, welcomed him with respect. From that day on, Kaito was no longer called the man without courage, but the compassionate warrior, a title that reflected his true nature. If you feel that your journey is similar to Kaito's, don't forget to join our community. The inner journey is easier when you don't do it alone. And so, Kaito learned that true power lies not in physical strength, but in the ability to see beyond one's fears, to act with wisdom, and to live with compassion. His journey was not over, but was only just beginning, a path of continuous inner growth.